Welcome to Freshwaves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. We have a fabulous show today. I know I say that every single time that we start a new episode of Freshwaves, but we really do have a fabulous show today. Today we'll be speaking with Lorraine Thornhill. She's a professional hypnotist, and we're going to be talking about hypnosis, what it is, how it affects our bodies, and how we can use hypnosis to relax over the holiday season. And I'm really excited to have this opportunity to speak with Lorraine because boy, oh boy, do we ever need to relax over the holiday season. Hi, Lorraine, and welcome to Fresh Waves.
Hi, Bren. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. I think people need to know, if they've never heard us talk before, they need to know what hypnosis is. What is it?
Well, basically, it is connecting. It's language that connects to the unconscious mind. It's words that we use, certain words that we use, certain terminology, phrases, and audios or activated audio sounds that we can actually connect with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is where we carry all of our memory over since our inception, or even in age regression or past life regression, since before inception on this life. And what it does, hypnosis helps us connect to the unconscious mind, because the conscious mind is where our subjective behavior is, our judgments, our beliefs, our behaviors manifest in a conscious form based on our beliefs in our unconscious mind. So with hypnosis, I see clients, and what I know from my experience is that when we work with hypnosis, it works in changing beliefs and behaviors, because our imprints are embedded in us from the time that we're born till around 7 years old. And our beliefs are created from those imprints. So hypnosis is a language that can connect to the unconscious mind to change those unproductive or weakened belief systems and create or re-imprint or rewrite a limited unconscious belief into an unlimited positive belief and behavior on the conscious level. So it's a way of getting to our behaviors that we don't recognize on a conscious level.
That's really thought-provoking. And you were saying that it all happens before the age of 7?
Generally, our imprints are embedded in our unconscious up until the age of 7, give or take, a couple of years. But when we think back, maybe a fear or a phobia or a negative imprint of some sort, even positive imprints, when we remember back as early as the age of 7 or 3, we have memories going right back to birth. We just are not consciously aware of them. And it's those unconscious memories that either get in the way or highlight our productivity. Either way, they create outcomes in our adult life through behaviors and belief systems.
Wow. So you can actually go back and try to alter those imprints or fix them, change them? How does it work?
I like to say rewriting them. The ones that are very productive, you want to enhance them. The ones that are unproductive and negative, you can rewrite them. For example, the fear of flying. The way to rewrite a negative behavior or a fear or a phobia of flying is to go back and rewrite that imprint within the brain, within the unconscious process. and then create a more conscious awareness of this behavior so it can be changed. And when that happens, it's like the same with weight management or weight loss. A lot of the people that take weight loss courses, mine and other hypnotists, the hypnotists rewrite the behavior towards foods or towards the metabolism or belief systems around food. But generally the behavior is not the present behavior. It's something that was imprinted from a past experience. So it could be from the time they were 7 or 6 years old, when something happened in their lives that created insecurity or self-doubt or a negative belief in themselves that they could not produce a positive outcome from it. So it's those emotions, those thoughts, those memories that get rewritten to produce something very positive for them.
That's fascinating. Now, are there things that get imprinted on us when we're older too? Like, can you have an experience that happens when you're 12 or 22 that influences you for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. What I have found, however, is that when I take people back to that imprinting stage, it's not generally the first sign of distress in that area. So we go back to a much younger age, and that's where the initial sensitizing event happens. So the subsequent sensitizing event could be something in your 20s or 30s or even 40s, whatever the case may be. And then we try and rewrite those events for a better outcome. And sometimes that is not the initial event. So we go back to a previous time that creates the emotion or the distress point. And in doing so, once that is understood, the symptom or the behavior is instantly relieved. So it's releasing the stress and the trauma of particular events, whether in whatever time you have in your whatever age you have in your life that creates what we think is the moment that creates an event. Sometimes, quite often, it's much earlier than that. But you're just re-triggering the emotion that is created with that particular event.
All right. Well, on this show, I always end up using myself as a guinea pig. So here I go again. I was never afraid of heights when I was young, but I am absolutely, completely and totally debilitated with my fear of heights. Going hiking in the mountains in Switzerland and coming around a corner and seeing that straight drop, and I honestly can't move. Hyperventilating, can't move. Terrified beyond terrified. But I wasn't like that when I was a kid.
No, but chances are you wouldn't remember it because we subdue those emotions and those traumas. So going into the unconscious mind or the subconscious, either way you call it, it's the same thing. Going into the subconscious, you can rewrite the initial trauma that created that fear of or phobia of heights or high places. I mean, for example, one of my mentors was talking about this fear he had of going into this cathedral with this very tall ceiling, and it's a phobia of heights, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm not talking about heights below him. I'm talking about heights above him. So the ceiling was enormously tall, and every time he went into this cathedral, he would shake and become distressed and hot sweats and everything. And it wasn't until he was hypnotized himself that he realized that that's not the source of the fear. The fear was when he was 7 or 6 years old, and he slipped at the side of the pond and went into a pond. Now, that being said, the floor around the baptismal where he was a little bit wet, which triggered a fear. And so when he was younger, when he was hypnotized and age regression happened, or he went into age regression with this sensitizing event, he realized the initial event was when he was much younger and he slipped on wet grass at the side of the pond. And when he realized that, his fear and phobia of high ceilings disappeared.
So when a person is under hypnosis, and I'm sure it's not the cliched kind you see when people are sitting on a stage for a performance and they're just kind of clucking like a duck or something, but when they're under the hypnosis, they can bring into their conscious what they accessed in their unconscious?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because when we're under hypnosis, we are not asleep. We're always consciously aware of what's going on. And during that phase, the hypnotist can actually give them amnesia so they don't remember after it, or they can tell them that they're completely aware of what's going on, which is generally the case when I do hypnosis with my clients. They remember everything that's going on. They're not asleep. They're in total control. And everything, the conscious mind just checks out because it's in a safe place and it's very relaxed. So it's not concerned about what goes on with the unconscious conversation. So we are not asleep. We're in a heightened state of awareness during hypnosis. The conscious mind becomes very relaxed and allows the unconscious mind to do the change work that's necessary. And there's a critical faculty, which is part of the conscious mind, that is the subjective and the judgmental part. It's our filter. It filters out the information that doesn't fit in with our belief systems and beliefs that have been programmed, like I said earlier, since our inception. And with the use of hypnosis, we can bypass this critical faculty that decides what the conscious mind needs to focus on and what it needs to let into our unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind deals with the facts. It doesn't deal with subjective information or judgmental information. That is a conscious trait of the ego. And when we take the ego out of it, which is pure subconscious mind, then it will deal what it needs to do to get things done without subjectivity. So it doesn't know the difference between what is false and what is true. And it works, like I said, without judgment. That's the unconscious mind. And once the critical faculty is bypassed, the unconscious mind is open to being redesigned. And that is where change happens on an unconscious level, not a conscious level. And this change happens without interference from the conscious mind or the ego state. So that's why hypnosis is so powerful. It can help you get to the root problem or the root cause of a concern or an issue. And our unconscious mind holds billions and billions of pieces of information, whereas our conscious mind can only do one thing at a time. It can only think of one thing at a time, right? So if I would say, think of a yellow lemon and then think of a pink elephant, it's very difficult to think of both of those at the same time. It's either one or the other, right? Whereas our unconscious mind is just like a library, millions of libraries of information, actually, from everything that we've done, everything that we've experienced, everything that we've perceived, to the current day is stored in our unconscious mind. And so hypnosis helps us connect to those resources that can help facilitate positive change. And so with weight loss clients, we help facilitate positive change through allowing the unconscious mind to be rewritten regarding choices around food or metabolism or self-doubt. That can be written, confidence, everything like that can be rewritten to produce a very positive outcome for the client. But
it really is fascinating. It kind of is beginning to make sense. So when someone's under hypnosis, can you really make them do things that they normally wouldn't do? You know, you see it on stage where all of a sudden there's some sort of command word and then the person starts clucking like a duck.
yeah, the answer to that is simply no. The people that go up on stage have given themselves permission to do as the hypnotist asks them to do. It's that simple. But can I make you do anything against your will? No, I cannot. Hypnosis is merely a guide or facilitator that helps you access your many resourceful states. During a hypnosis session, you are, like I said, you're completely aware of everything that's going on. So if you choose not to do something that the hypnotist is guiding you to, you have the power to reject any suggestion.
Okay. Now, do you use a pendulum? You know, that goes back and forth and says, "You are getting sleepy."
No, I could, though, if they asked me to, but that's not what I do. I use the power of the mind to take the mind deeper. So I just talk to them in a way that connects. I can change my tonality. I can change the speed of the way I speak. I can change how I look at the person with expectation. And within minutes, the client goes into a hypnosis state or a hypnotic state. And when people come to me for change, they desire to work on a particular change. So any work I do with the client is already approved by that client because they're coming to me for a particular reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if I said, no, I don't want to work on that today, I want to work on something else, then they wouldn't be as receptive. But stage hypnosis is different. It's a game that people want to play and have fun with, but they've already given their consent the minute they walk up on the stage. And therefore, you get a comedy show that comes with stage hypnosis. And I love going to see stage hypnosis. My mentor, Dr. Mike Mandel, was a stage hypnosis for years and years. And I had seen him a few times. And, you know, it's really funny, the stuff that he does, but it's all keeping safe. It's all in a safe environment. And the people up on stage are the first priority. If they're not safe, then the show doesn't go on. And likewise, in my office, if the client doesn't feel safe, then we have to establish that safe zone for them to be in before we can move forward with hypnosis.
Okay, so it seems like you see on TV right now where they're using this in crime, I don't know, and trying to figure out the bad guy and who done it. But they can also take people back to the scene of the crime and ask them to look at the room, for example, and where is the door and what color is the bedspread and those kinds of things. And they're looking for details that often get misplaced in your mind, I guess. They're always there, but someone could say, well, what color was the bedspread? And they just go, I don't know, I don't remember. But in fact, it is there because you did see it, but you just can't bring it up from that memory bank. So in crime fighting now, they're using hypnotic techniques to try and put people back in a situation and see if they can remember something that's going to be of use to the problem solving.
Correct. Yeah, and as we spoke a little bit about it earlier, the conscious mind can only remember. things like a small amount of information. In fact, it can only remember 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at any moment in time, whereas the unconscious mind, but it can only focus on one thing at a time. It can remember these 7 to 9 pieces of information, or 5 to 9 pieces of information, but it can only focus on one thing at a time. But the unconscious mind takes in everything we do. It takes in the breathing patterns we have. It takes in the color of our clothes. It takes in the experiences from second to second, the taste of things, and without a doubt, I'm sure some of you have experienced that the taste of something will bring back a memory, or hearing a particular sound or seeing a particular sight will bring back a certain memory. So crime investigation using hypnosis, what they do is, when I ask somebody to remember, if a person walks by in front of them and I ask a person to remember what that person walking by was wearing, they would maybe remember one thing out of it all. And then if you had 5 people doing the same thing, every one of those 5 people will remember something different. Mm-hmm. So it's disjointed information, right? So with hypnosis, you can actually regress the person back in time to them visualizing that scene again. And that scene becomes extremely clear. They're actually as if they were standing in that scene again, and they actually look around and they can describe in minute detail all the elements of that scene. How many people, the temperature on their face, the temperature in the room, what they were wearing on the feet, what somebody else was wearing on the feet. All of that is absorbed in the unconscious. And it's through the investigation where that is brought out to the conscious memory. And then once it's brought out, it's easy to remember on a conscious level. But until it's triggered on the unconscious level, it remains in the unconscious resources. And that's a very resourceful state. There's so many other things that we store in our unconscious mind that our conscious memory doesn't really understand or doesn't know until it's brought to the conscious memory.
Well, if someone has an accident, a friend of mine had an accident with her bicycle this summer, and she doesn't remember a thing. She remembers looking at 2 old ladies walking down the sidewalk and then nothing. Now, she was unconscious because of the accident. Her helmet was destroyed. She broke bones and things like that. So through hypnosis, might she be able to remember what caused the accident? What happened to her before? Possible. Like, it's not when she was unconscious, but what happened just before she lost consciousness.
It's possible. I can't say that for sure without talking to a medical doctor, and I wouldn't intervene with anything medical, but it's highly possible that if she was taken back to prior to the accident, she could remember the details on an unconscious level that the conscious level just checked out and blocked out because it is traumatic. You got to remember that when we go back to a previous experience, some of that previous experience could be a traumatic incident, in which case you have to tread really lightly. And the person might get a reaction or an abreaction when they do remember that experience, right? So it's not just as simple as taking them back to a point to remember it. You have to understand that there's a point where it might recreate that stress on that person.
Right, and then that might not be healthy.
Well, it may be and it may be not. It all depends, right?
Now, what happens if you go? What if you go back there with your client, and even if it's something like a fear of heights, and all of a sudden that person is on the edge of that cliff, and they're no longer feeling safe in the space that you have created? Then what do you do?
So prior to going into a regression like that, there's always a setup of a safe place. And when you notice that there's an abreaction coming, or maybe that fear, and when I say safe place, I'm talking about an unconscious. The unconscious mind creates a safe place for the conscious mind to check out and stay. For example, a garden with some beautiful trees and flowers and birds and just peaceful, calm place for the unconscious or the conscious mind. The conscious mind checks out there and stays there. But if the unconscious mind gets a little upset, there's triggers that we can set in place, or safety zones that we can set in place just by allowing that person to go back to that safe zone. So if a reaction starts, you just take the person while still in a hypnosis state or trance state to that safe zone. You displace yourself or disassociate yourself from the actual event, meaning that you tell the subject or the client ahead of time that they are going back in time to revisit this trauma, but you're not going to experience it. You're going to look at it from an onlooker, taking the emotions out of it completely, so that there's no emotions attached to the event. Therefore,
it's easier to deal with.
Is the facts.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like being the fly on the wall, looking at it from a different perspective.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, you get the mind to look at it from a different perspective, but a perspective that's harmless.
Yes.
And doesn't reignite any sensitivities or doesn't trigger any emotions.
Wow. And the fact that you have the ability to do that is fantastic. Anyway, we're coming up on our first break here in the show. We are speaking with Lorraine Thornhill, and she's a hypnotist, and we're going to continue our conversation about hypnosis and how it can work for you right when we get back from this little break. You're listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we'll be back in just a second. Stay tuned. You're listening to Fresh Waves, and I'm your host, Bren Masson. If you'd like to hear this podcast again or more Fresh Waves podcasts, go to our YouTube channel. That's Fresh Waves Radio. You can hear all the podcasts there. If you'd like to get a hold of me with a show suggestion or a story that you have to share, then just email me at bren@freshwaves.ca. bren@freshwaves.ca. We love to hear from you. Now let's get back to the show. We're back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and today on the show we are speaking with Lorraine Thornhill about hypnosis. She's a professional hypnotist, and I am giving her some questions that are really, pushing the boundaries a bit, and I do talk a little bit in the first half there about, the stereotypical things that we see on TV. And we're going to leave that whole discussion now and talk about relaxing for the holidays and how hypnosis can help us relax. And Lorraine, you have lots of clients who come to you for the purposes of relaxing.
Yes, this is true. Some of the techniques that I teach them right off the bat is not really hypnosis, but it's like a 5-second relaxation technique. And then we go into relaxation audios and or relaxation hypnosis sessions. And they always feel really, really extremely relaxed after, and they can't think of the stress or the tension that created that state in the first place. So that's very productive for them.
So would you use that in clients who suffer from anxiety or over anxiousness, which I guess is anxiety, but extreme anxiety and things like that?
Yeah, for people who are stressed and anxious, I will teach them self-hypnosis, which they can help alleviate stress and symptoms of anxiety before it really escalates. And that's really the key in targeting stress and anxiety management, is to know that you're not feeling on the top of your game and you're feeling overwhelmed. And when you recognize that, you go into a state of relaxation. And the two techniques off the top of my head that will instantly relax the breathing and the body rhythms are just breath work and counted down from 5 to 1. So the breath work would be you're sitting in your chair, you close your eyes, you put your hands on your lap, your legs are uncrossed, and you just notice your breath work, your breath moving in and out of your body. You notice it at the top of your breath and at the very bottom of your breath. And as you start with 3 long, deep breaths, inhale slowly, hold it at the top of your breath for the count of 2 or 4, and then exhale slowly and hold it at the bottom of your breath for the count of 2 or 4. And if you repeat that 3 times, that is a very simple relaxation technique that will slow the heart rhythm down, your pulse rate, the blood pressure. It lowers the blood pressure almost instantaneously, and it allows you to recoup from what could be a disastrous emotion. The second one is just simply sitting down, the same thing, putting your hands on your thighs, legs uncrossed, and just thinking about counting back. If you're going to make these rash decisions based on stress or emotional decisions, then chances are they're not the best decisions for you. Unless, of course, and I caveat that with athletes, sometimes their spontaneous decision that is based on stress may work well for them. So but that's a whole different topic, is athletes and hypnosis. But for the majority of us, if we can count from sit down in a very calm state, take a nice deep breath in, and then count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and allow your body just to relax completely. That will allow your mind to relax, and it will allow you to change, if change is needed, the outcome of the decision or the deciding factor or of the next action that you're going to take, because a lot of the times we take actions based on our emotions, and stress is a big part of this. Mm-hmm. So in order to avoid taking the action on an emotion, subdue the emotion and then rethink the action.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, and it's a really simple thing to do. So that's a great technique for when you're just trying to, calm yourself in an awkward situation. You've got all the relatives around in the holidays and someone's really pushing your buttons. Maybe you do take the time to count backwards from 5 before you say what you really were going to say in the first place.
It will give you time to rethink, for sure. I mean, that's an excellent way of changing one's thought pattern. I know I heard of a person a couple of months ago that did that, and he avoided injuring himself. So it's a big thing to be able to not, number one, challenge yourself, challenge your emotions on that. And number 2, when you challenge your emotions, to be able to change the behaviors, right? Because when you change the behaviors, chances are when you behave based on a relaxed state as opposed to based on an emotional state, the behavior of the relaxed state is more productive for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, people say, they've got a big problem. They're all anxious about it, and they're all wrapped up in what they have to do, and they say, I'm going to sleep on this. And when they sleep on it and wake up in the morning, they often have the answer. You don't hear people say, yeah, well, I'm just going to continue to have the monkey brain rolling as fast as it possibly can and sort this problem out. It doesn't happen that way. We actually, when we're relaxed, seem to be able to do much better in our thought processes.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I've got an audio unconscious scripting, and it's that understanding exactly. It's relaxing the mind, the unconscious mind, and the conscious mind so much that it frees up the blocks that stop information from coming in or being downloaded into the conscious mind. And so when you go into that breathing technique of 3 breaths in and exhaling slowly, and then just relaxing your body, and you have a question that you need an answer to prior to going into that breathing technique, if you ask that question, put it down on a sheet of paper and do the breathing technique, relax your body, and just let your mind be, and chances are that the answer to that question will come in a very clear state. And a lot of people that I've taught that to do conscious scripting in a way to clear blocks from writing, or perhaps creating music, and anything that they need focused concentration on, but because the stress is getting in the way, they can't come out with an outcome, or they can't resolve an unanswered question. This is one way to resolve it. And generally what you do is you think whatever comes to mind, don't second guess it, but you use that information. And in most cases, that's the right information you needed to hear. So you're allowing your soul to be part of the journey there, basically.
Wow. That's a nice way of looking at it too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like listening to that little voice in your head.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of neglect that, but it's an important
piece of the puzzle
process to be a part of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to announce to the listeners that you're going to give us a little 6 or 7 minute relaxing piece at the end of this show that will they can use to relax with. They'll get an idea of what relaxing hypnosis is. We will say that, when you're listening to this, you should not be driving and you should not be operating heavy machinery, or probably cooking in your kitchen while you're listening, which I often do when I'm listening to podcasts. So maybe it's a time to actually listen to the end of the podcast when you have the chance to be in a safe place, when you're sitting down and, you need to chill. You can use the last piece. And it also will give listeners a chance to really see how it works and what is involved in a relaxing kind of hypnosis.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it is so short, it's 7 minutes? It's not time out of your day. You can actually do it while you're sitting at your desk at work, or maybe riding home on, not driving yourself, but in the GO train, or a bus, or anything, or anything like that at all. It's just a quick 7-minute relaxation technique, but it's also a way to rejuvenate your brain and calm down all the idiosyncrasies that went on during the day, because you alleviate the thought of those moments that created stress in the first place.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because it's one of those things that I think, like we're saying to the listeners during the holiday season, it can get really stressful. And it also is really busy. So we're maybe not going to get the chance to go and see our hypnotist. We're maybe not have the time to go and do our massage therapy. We're busy. We're running ragged, and that's the whole point. It's so nice to have something that you can do at home, and work it into your day so that you can get this relaxing. Now, does this help people with sleep? Because I know a lot of people over the age of 50 have a hard time sleeping. It's a time of life where the brain just doesn't seem to shut off like it used to when you were young. And I hear a lot of people complaining that they're really having a hard time sleeping. Would this be something that could help?
Oh, for sure. I actually do have a sleep audio, or relaxation audio I can send to you for your listeners. But anytime you can reduce the tightness and tension from your body is a good time to be able to sleep, because what that does, it allows you to relax the emotions, relax the brain, relax the physical part of it. intellectual part and the emotional part all at the same time. And it's just, it's a great way to start to relax. And a lot of times when we're looking at our phones or computers prior to bed, we're not going to sleep because the blue light from those pieces of equipment will disturb the brain waves. And so you have to think about that too.
Yeah, and some of the social media, they now know, and there are court cases going on about it at the moment, is that some of the social media outlets are using manipulative and habit-forming light, sound. They prey on what you've already seen, so they keep giving you more of what you want to see. And it's in its own right a form of hypnosis. And you get stuck watching these things and you can't stop. And then when you do stop, your brain is completely whirled up in all that you have seen and is actually left wanting to see more. And if that happens right before you go to bed, you're snookered. You just don't have a shot at getting to sleep.
And that's how they get you.
Yes.
Is the brain waves. Now, that being said, I use brain waves for some of my audios that I send out to clients to help them get into the state of the desired state much quicker.
Right.
So brain waves used positively can make a big difference in rewriting that area of the brain, the unconscious mind, that needs to relax. And it helps manifest it quicker.
You're using the same techniques, but in a positive way instead of in that habit-forming negative way.
Correct, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are running out of time because we want to let people hear this relaxing piece at the end. So I will say now, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for gifting everyone this relaxing piece that will help them through the holiday season. And I hope that we can have another chat with you in the new year where we'll talk about things like addiction, weight loss, quitting smoking, which again is addiction, but those kinds of behaviors and how hypnosis can help people with those kinds of issues.
I would love that.
Great.
I would love that.
Thank you again. Thank you for joining us on Fresh Waves, and we look forward to listening to this piece about relaxing now. Enjoy, everyone.
Thank you.
Sit in a quiet, undisturbed place, with your shoulders back, away from your ears, soft and relaxed. And when you are ready, allow yourself to let go fully. And as you listen to my voice, it will guide you to a deep, deep, relaxing place. Now I want you to take a slow, deep breath in and hold it, and breathe out slowly. As your body relaxes deeper with every breath, take another slow breath in. Hold it and let yourself relax deeper and deeper now. And I don't know if you notice the weight of your eyes as you begin to close them now. And there is no need for you to turn your attention inward as this warm, beautiful feeling of peace and comfort begins to surround you. So just relax and allow yourself to feel the beautiful peace within now. One of the things you can enjoy about being relaxed is the ability to heal yourself. Because your body can, appreciate how it feels with no tension or stress at all. And maybe you'll discover a new level of awareness with your innermost self. A very powerful awareness of healing and stress release. And I wonder now if you can imagine a beautiful white light that is in front of you, just above your eye level. A small, brilliant white light. One which you can look at easily The beautiful opal rays of this light are shining down on you now. And as this brilliant white light begins to grow and shower you with its opal flickers of warmth and comfort, you look at this light more and more as you unwind and relax in more ways than you ever thought you could. And as you watch this light and feel the comfort of its presence, the size of this light begins to gracefully grow. And as the comfort and warmth begin to radiate towards you, you become aware of how much more peaceful and relaxed you are now. And letting go is so easy for you. It is easy to see how you can completely be encased in this beauty and tranquility of this pure healing light. And as this light moves towards you slowly, it begins to deliver to you an incredible, beautiful source of energy. This pure energy showers you with beautiful healing properties that passage into every part of your body and channel into every fiber, every nerve, every cell, and even into every thought. And perhaps you've noticed the light now as it changes colors while it draws away all negative energy from your body, mind, and spirit. Then returns to this beautiful white healing light as it cascades your body with peace and filling you completely with this beautiful energy and health. As this brilliant white healing light delivers everything that you need to become stronger, more vibrant, and energetic. You may not know how deep this healing will go or how your unconscious mind will stimulate and signal that these changes have been made, but you will become aware that the healing energy will stay with you, continuing to heal. And as the light begins to fade, the healing energy will linger and continue to heal in the coming hours, days, weeks, and months, becoming more vibrant and healthy in countless ways. And maybe you have opened up the possibilities of all the ways you can enjoy becoming healthy and stress-free. Yet as these tools and resources are inside of you now, and your unconscious mind will eternally help you in many ways, you can and will continue to use these powerful healing meditations on a regular basis and learn at a deeper level how to rebuild from within. And each time you use it, you will find it easier to relax and let go of all tension and stress in the body. As you continue on your journey of healing, you feel so relaxed now, but will be coming back to your waking state soon, feeling perfectly refreshed and ready to continue on with your day, with your newfound energy and awareness, and all the new resources that your unconscious mind has brought to the forefront, because you have been able to let go even for a short time. You feel amazed, empowered, resourceful, energized, and remain relaxed, which will enable you to take on any challenges that may show up. As you wake from this mini meditation now, I encourage you to continue on this path. Namaste.
That's it for Fresh Waves today. I hope you're all relaxed and feeling great. Remember, if you have a choice, choose kindness every time. It's just a great way to live. We'll catch you again next time on Fresh Waves.